Nature of Being. This painting is dedicated to Patanjali. So here at this studio, Safa Yoga Shala, we do a style of yoga called Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga comes from a book written by Patanjali. Patanjali lived on the planet right around the same time as the Buddha and Jesus. And he codified a system, meaning there are thousands upon thousands of techniques in yoga. And he took what he felt was necessary in particular steps and then wrote a book about it. So back then, not having books, what you would have is the yoga teacher sitting out somewhere in the forest, and his students would come to him, or her students would come to her, and the teacher would, sutra by sutra, teach the Yoga Sutras to the students. The Yoga Sutras are broken into 4 different chapters. It's thought that each chapter goes into more in-depth and also relates to a deeper student. And in this particular painting, I have Patanjali sitting in the middle. His Kundalini is fully released and realized. He's performing a siddhi, which is a yogic power of levitations, hovering above his royal lotus flower, and sitting in a field of his own awareness, or sitting in a field of his own true nature. Meaning, when we start to do yoga, we may experience some sliver pieces of silence within inside. If you change the inner environment enough, you can sit within this silence, and you can live your life within this silence. And so it's thought that that's what Patanjali did. Yoga Sutras now have always been taught. You can now get them in books. An example is one of the godfathers of current yoga is Krishnamacharya. And his son talked about how he was taught the Yoga Sutra from his father. His father taught him the sutras 7 different times. And each time he taught the sutras, he never repeated anything he said from the time before, and provided one deeper shade of wisdom or awareness, one deeper explanation to it. Meaning, when your awareness changes and elevates, you can understand something on a different perspective. So the Yoga Sutras has that capability, meaning wherever you are, you can learn from it. No matter if you're just a beginner all the way up to someone who's meditating for years. And it's a book of instructions. It's kind of like the Cole's Notes of yoga. The sutra is a statement, it's a sentence that says, this is what is. And then the teacher, based on your level of realization, would give a description on what you can understand. So my hope was, out of the 4 chapters, I could do 1 painting for each chapter. But since these paintings take so long, like this one was 5 months to paint, I haven't got to the 2nd, the 3rd, or the 4th chapter. Ashtanga, Ashta means 8, Tanga means limb, Yoga means union. So the crux of the practice, meaning there's 8 parts to it. Of the 8 parts, they are somewhat done in a sequential order. The first 2 are your yamas and your niyamas, and they are basically your 10 commandments from the Bible, or they are also your behavior and your code of ethics of how you live your life. So the first teaching of the yamas is ahimsa, non-violence, and that's what Gandhi was all about. And if anything, you really can't get much further down the road in a spiritual path if you are not practicing non-violence and ahimsa. That is where the whole act of becoming a vegetarian is. Where I'm not going to preach about you should stop eating meat or stop eating little creatures for your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But what you start to see is you start to see the life around you, the vibrancy in life around you, and you start to understand that that animal has just as much of a right to live as what you do. And really you would like that animal to have an ease of life, just like what we want to. So, as I said, you start to see life differently. Life starts to treat you differently, and you start to treat your life differently. So beyond that, telling the truth, being content, purifying your body, there are many concepts that we can work on ourselves, meaning there may be a practice where you practice on your yoga mat, but what do you do when you leave the studio, right? So here we can change ourselves through our nervous system. And then ultimately you have to be aware for the other 22 hours of the day when you leave here after your 2-hour practice of how you interact with the world around you out there. Beyond your yamas and niyamas, your pranayama is how you breathe, meaning we're breathing in the prana and we're infusing the prana into our body. We have 100 trillion cells in our body, each cell doing 100,000 reactions per second. So our body is incredibly vast, incredibly important, incredibly dynamic, and the breathing is a practice solely by itself. Meaning there are yogis that just do pranayama. The fourth part is the asana, the postures itself, which is mainly practiced here in North America. And then beyond that, you have something called your sense withdrawal. And that is done through how you look and how you gaze while you're doing your practice. Beyond that, you have concentration, you have your focus, and you have the end product, which is called samadhi or enlightenment. So think of the word enlightenment. It's got the word light in it, meaning we're trying to bring light back into our body. They found now through science, believe it or not, that our body interacts with light. There's been a number of studies with our DNA, meaning our DNA interacts with the photons, which are light particles that come from the sun. And when our body is feeling and bringing up positive feelings, our body has an automatic heightened immune response. And when we feel negative things and we lash out with negative types of behavior, our immune response goes down. So your emotional content dictates what's going on in your inner environment. And the more virtuous and positive your behaviors, the more light you are going to be. And the flip side, the more heavier and lethargic and thick and brittle and inflexible you can be, and so on.
Beautiful. May I ask you one more question?
Of course.
Well, I might have two more, but where to from here? You're a boy from Brantford, a small town in Ontario, and now we've had a look at where you're at right now with your art, and little snippets in between. What's next?
Keep painting, keep expressing, keep moving, keep going, never stop. I think I'm just touched the tip of the iceberg, so to speak, whereas the majority of the iceberg is hidden underneath the ocean. We tend to only see the very top part. Ideally, I'd like to have a collection of paintings like this 2-3 times the size, and love to show it off in the place where I work because it has so much direct correlation between what we're doing. Would I like to have my own art gallery at some point? I'd love to have that, where people could come and, can I paint a painting that not only just people like, or they think is colorful and bright, but can it change them? That's where I want to go. Can I change you, your perspective? Can I elevate your consciousness? By you seeing something, you connecting to something that is already inside of you, and then you leave a different person. So how I'm going to do that, that's a good question, but I believe I'm moving in the right direction with it, and who knows where it'll go from there.
Wow, beautiful. That's really, really wonderful. Thank you so much for your time today. It has been such a pleasure, and I don't doubt we'll see you in the future.
Thank you so much.
Jamie, thank you so much for your time today. It was such a pleasure to meet you, to spend time with you. I could honestly sit and listen to you all day. You're such a wealth of knowledge, and the way you're so genuine and you speak from your heart is really beautiful to be around. So thank you so much. I don't doubt that your paintings will touch many people. I love that you're asking the question, can I create something that everyone looks at and has a shift once they see the image? And you'll achieve that. I know you will. You're an amazingly gifted, talented person, soul, a light in this world. So I can't think of any more words to say to express how honestly impressed I was with you, other than thank you from the bottom of my heart. Much love and many blessings to you.